And we are live.
Good morning, everyone, and aloha snack bar to all of you out there. It's the one, the only, notorious, glorious ape simian man himself, the Optimus Primate, coming to you live, and the main man, the master of the flux capacitor, the producer extraordinaire, where we break down the news, the views, and all the information that's important to you. With that being said, you can check us out on roguemoney.net. Follow us on Twitter at the Rogue Money, as well as Rogue Money on Facebook. Also, check us out on Rogue Money DTube, Rogue Money Steam it, Rogue Money on every single podcasting app, Rogue Money on Apple News. We're everywhere you want us to be. Also, check out our sponsors, RemainCalm.net. RemainCalm.net. Whether you need the gold USB to surf the web anonymously, hide your tracks from the NSA snooping, and secure your Bitcoin wallet and identity all in one shot, the gold USB using its 1024-bit elliptical military grade encryption is a total badass solution for you. Or you might just need your credit fixed and protect yourself from debt collectors. You need to check these guys out as well. They have their Thrive program that protects your assets, prevents your bank accounts and your wages from being garnished and or levied. Check them out, remaincom.net. Or, you don't need any of those things. You just need some money because you see some cryptos that are on the tear, or you got some stocks you want to get, or an investment you want to purchase. Check these guys out. They can get you up to $600,000 unsecured from their network of 335 lenders. RemainCom.net. With that being said, CJ, what's going on?
Rest in peace, Tom Petty, V. Rest in peace, Tom Petty.
Yeah, what happened to Tom Petty? He died.
Yeah, so apparently his
How?
wife found him and he was massive heart attack.
Okay.
Massive heart attack. His wife found him. A little bit of misinformation came out. The LAPD actually reported him dead before he was actually removed from any life support. He was actually brain dead. They went ahead and reported it, and they said no, there's still a chance. But then I think by midnight, I think is when they declared him dead. So the guy's long history of music, several different generations. People from the 80s, 90s, and still currently would listen to his music. So he will be missed.
Yeah, yeah, that's terrible, terrible. Anyway, my man, a lot of crazy stuff, excuse me, happening. Where I think the nation is still recovering from what has happened yesterday over in the Sin City over at Las Vegas. For those that don't know what happened, a 64-year-old man from a retirement community who has no experience in firearms, was not, quote unquote, a gun guy based on every interview done by his family members. This 64-year-old man with poor vision was somehow able to get into the 32nd floor of a hotel with 10, count them, CJ, 10 long assault rifles and thousands of rounds of ammunition. Because that's easy to put into a backpack. You know, you can put that easily
Yeah.
into a backpack. And hold thousands of rounds of ammo. And for 72 minutes, CJ, he was unleashing hell from the 32nd floor all the way across the street into a music festival. It's quite a distance, and he was able to hit over 500 people, killing over 50 people, probably even more casualties as the days continued forward. And he supposedly killed himself. And then there was later retracted that he didn't kill himself, that there was some sort of a firefight. And either way, the guy conveniently dies. This is totally feasible. There's no conspiracy here. Move along, folks. That's what they'll have you to believe. My theory is this. Okay, here's my take on it. What's the guy? Stephen Paddock? Paddock?
Paddock. Yeah. Yep.
Stephen Paddock's a patsy. I don't even think he was a trigger man. You had two blown out windows. You had assault rifles there. You had raining down lead on a crowd of people for 72 minutes. Okay, it's remarkable. It's remarkable. Number one. Number two. that many thousands of rounds of ammo this guy was pumping out, you know, clip after clip after clip. You need some sort of precision to get that done. Okay. The other thing is this. I think whoever this guy Stephen Paddock is, I think he was already dead and his body was already in that hotel room. Whoever did this op. I think it's more than one guy. I think it's probably a multiples of guys, maybe two, maybe three that did it. There's also the strange woman who was on the floor where the music festival was in the front row, telling certain individuals that you're all going to die. All of you are going to die tonight, about 30 to 40 minutes before the fireworks started, CJ.
Yep.
This woman is identified to be, or some are guesstimating to be, his Filipino girlfriend. Now, pretty interesting is the photos that were uncovered of this woman in the Middle East in Dubai. You know, the Dubai pictures don't really tell you much of anything. Everybody goes to Dubai. Doesn't mean you're a terrorist. Dubai is just one of those swanky places you want to go to because it's just so darn beautiful and there's things to do. But that is not still discounting the fact that maybe there's some connections here. You know, she is a Filipino. What kind of connection maybe she would have had with the Islamic separatist movement in Mindanao, which we have seen to be a deep state proxy. Latest evidence is the ongoing support that's been given to them by the U.S. deep state in opposition to President Rodrigo Duterte. We see that evidence there. Supposedly, also, CJ, they found Islamic as well as leftist paraphernalia in possession of this Stephen Paddock. I think there's something to it, but anyway, none of this adds up whatsoever. And plus, the numbers that were being reported on earlier. When I was in a meeting yesterday, I was in Beantown. I was in Boston, having some chowder, drinking some water, going upstairs to my car. In Boston, I love Boston. Great town, great city. Anyway, I tweeted out and said that there's a lot of strange and occultic numbers that were coming out. A lot of it has to do with 5. The fact that they were looking for somebody who was 5 feet tall and 111 pounds. Okay, it's there's some occultic numbers there. The fact that at that time it was reported that 50 people dead and 513 people injured, which or 508 people injured or something like that, which counts as 13. They were, everything that was coming out. The fact that this was on the 91st Music Festival or something, or Route 91 Music Festival, which 9 and 1 is 10. 10, a power of 10 is what, 5. I mean, there's so many so much numbers that are coming out. I'm no numerology expert, but you start seeing a pattern, and you're like, okay, something's up. And nobody who thinks with a critical mind will look at this event and say, this old dude, this leftist guy who has pictures of him in a pink pussy hat is able to do this. It doesn't fit. And I don't know what you guys were saying yesterday. I didn't get a chance to listen to yesterday's shows, but that's my take on it. Siege, what do you think?
Yeah, yesterday we talked because it was just still fresh, breaking, a lot of information coming out. But even V, if you take the MSM, if you take the information that is being presented at face value, okay, let's remove all the conspiracy things, the fourth window, the supposedly paraphernalia of Antifa, all that kind of stuff. Let's take that out of the equation. So here you have a 64-year-old man, millionaire, retired, looks like he's living a great life, enjoys gambling emphatically. Now they're reporting he enjoys country music, so that doesn't make sense. So we're led to believe that he was able to orchestrate where he had planned on visiting Las Vegas and ahead of time decided to go ahead and think out that in case he has a bad streak on the Vegas floor, that he's going to decide to take it out on country music fans. the entire narrative is being set up around, this guy. And when you start to see the disinformation come out from the media, and when his record is so clean and clear, it was almost like he was specifically, kind of picked out to be the fall guy for this. And then they try linking it. This is what's so, when they're digging so deep, is when they start to say, well, his dad was on the FBI's most wanted list at one time.
Oh, God.
That's the level of stupidity the media is trying to sell to get the American public to say, well, yeah, he was probably a bad guy. His dad was a bank robber, and shoot, his dad was on the FBI. Maybe he did. We're led to believe that he had a bad day on the casino floor, had lost a lot of money, and decided to go up to his room and unload and take it out on everyone. So that whole narrative right there, it just simply doesn't add up, no matter how you try to look at his past, his beliefs. So then you start to take a look at the other information that started to come out. And that's one thing, V, that hard for these operatives, the cabal, the deep state, to operate in, is that technology today, there's so much information at any one point of time that they cannot control that information. So we have statements, we have video, numerous videos, cameras coming in of all this thing that transpired. So when you piece together the factual 45-minute warning before this happened, with one young lady, 21 years of age, who appeared to be very composed, it struck a nerve with her enough that when she received this warning, she actually left the concert when this woman was arrested 45 minutes before. And then through this interview with this news station, you can tell that she's kind of shook. She's like thinking about this, that I was saved. I was given a warning, and I was back in my room in safety when this happened. And I think it struck a nerve for her to kind of absorb all that. That would be kind of profound to be there and sitting there. I was one of the lucky ones. I was warned, I got out, and then thinking about the whole mystery around, well, how did she know?
Right.
Thing was going to happen. So when you take that fact and then you take a look at the actual video, and there's several angles, it's not just one. So even if you take the two windows that are shot out on the 32nd floor, and I'm not sure if that's a conference floor or if he was able to move to left and right, there's no way that it was just one room, right? I mean,
right.
Most hotel rooms have maybe one or two windows,
right?
Maybe four.
Yeah, like half the floor.
Yeah, he had half the not only on the flat side, but on the angle side that had been over. So, I mean, did he have the whole floor? And I'm sure that there's going to be information coming out about that. And then you take a look at the muzzle flash that's appearing, and it's several links, and you can't stop this information because people have downloaded, people have saved it. I've observed it several times, where you distinctively see a muzzle flash occurring at the 4th level window repeatedly, and it's almost synchronized enough where, with the sound waves and then seeing the flash of light, there's enough of a delay that it kind of makes sense in terms of seeing the hearing the sound and then seeing the lights, or vice versa. But it completely makes sense to say, hey, wait a minute, there was something else going on here. There was more than one person that orchestrated this. And I'm glad, I'm glad that we have the technology today to get this information out, to shoot down these narratives that want to be played out. Right. Unfortunately, in today's day of technology, everyone is such a rush to be the first to break information, be the first to get out their perspectives. But when you take a look at this from all sides and all angles, V, this could have been accomplished by one person. There's no way.
Yeah. And the idiot left, man, leave it to the idiot left to figure out some sort of narrative to make this about a racial issue. They're like, this is about white supremacy and white patriarchy. I mean, you see it all over the Twitter sphere. The funny thing is, these idiots in the left don't realize that this so-called white supremacist, what he did, and all the evidence is pointing that he is a hardcore lefty, but what he did is he hit a country music festival and killed mostly white males. Okay, so if you're a white supremacist, why on earth would you do such a thing? Okay.
Right.
It's ridiculous, man. And for them, for the left to all of a sudden, when there's an Islamic terrorism anywhere in the world, where we're screaming bloody murder and saying, "Look, it's a fundamentalist Islam," even in the 49 people that were killed in Orlando nightclub shooting, the left quickly jockeys for restraint. We have to have restraint. But in this situation, there's no restraint. We need to, it's white supremacy. We need gun control, and we need to stop all the. I mean, you have the idiot Hillary, and someone needs to tell this moron to please go away. She does not seem to get the picture. Is out there tweeting that this was somehow done with a silencer or some sort of nonsense like that. I mean, the level of understanding of firearms that this moron has, it's incredible. It's incredible. You can't suppress a weapon like that, and any sort of suppression on an assault rifle will melt the suppressor. Anybody would know that. Absolutely ridiculous, Siege. This whole thing stinks to high heaven. Something truly does stink in Las Vegas. The fact this guy was able to walk into a hotel room, if you believe the narrative, this guy was somehow able to get 10 firearms, long rifles, and thousands of rounds of ammunition into a hotel room, it's just simply beyond the pale. And where's the videos? Where's the security cam footage? I want to see the undoctored one. Nowadays we're seeing in certain cases where there's some high-profile individuals involved in certain kidnappings and certain rape cases that I've seen recently, CJ, which I'm not even going to talk about, where it involves high-ranking officials. It involves people in positions of power. You can clearly see the hotel security cameras have been tampered with. The individuals' images have been scrubbed. So I would not be surprised we have some sanitized video of this gentleman, probably altered or doctored in some regard. And that is being officially put out there as their true and official narrative. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all, Siege. This whole thing is rotten to the core, and I'm just trying to figure out what the end goal and agenda is. I think it's definitely chaos. I think it's definitely trying to make not only the country look bad, but also the president look bad, because he is a pro-Second Amendment president. So it's ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous, preposterous to think that a guy in a retirement community was pulling this stunt. Just ridiculous.
Yeah, just while you were saying that, just a few more thoughts. And I'm not the one that made this up or thought about it. However, it's a valid point. Let's think about this, okay? For over a year, the FBI has been investigating how Russia altered in our elections. They colluded with the administration to alter our election, okay, where nobody died, okay? A year.
Yep.
And then within 30 minutes, they were able to tell us the narrative of how over 50 people were killed in a massacre and are willing to drive on.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. And then one other point, you're absolutely right about that video footage. I mean, those casinos are wired better than a bank.
Yep.
And if you don't think that they can get video images and video within minutes, they would be able to retrieve the point where he checked in, facial recognition to show his pattern through the hotel, the day going up to, they would be able to release video of that within 30 minutes, not this 1 day, 2 days after that they're able to orchestrate and piece together the video they want to share with the American public that obviously has been altered. So that's a very valid point.
Absolutely correct, man. And this is the thing that these idiots do not realize. And we see this again and again and again. It's a story that plays too fast and too loose. Then every single press conference they have, what are they doing? They spent like 99% of the press conferences they've been having is, I want to thank the first responders. Thank you, first responders. 72 minutes, this guy was ripping off rounds for 72 minutes. And you're talking about thanking the first responders after over 50, almost close to 60 people were massacred. Over 520 some odd people wounded. And you want to thank the first responders for what? What do they first respond to? Is my question. You know, I want to thank the first responders, the bravery of the first responders. When 72 minutes, this guy was raining down lead on the public. Did I see or did you see any first responders, CJ, running out in flak jackets and pulling victims during the whole live fire event? I didn't.
There was so much chaos, and the different videos that I've seen were mostly from audience goers. I witnessed more civilians getting involved to help people.
Exactly correct.
More civilians getting in there to take people out that were stranded, because literally, from my understanding, it around this concert area, basically all around it are like 8 or 10 foot walls, which made it almost impossible for the people to get out. So in that situation with that many people, I'm sure there were a lot of injuries due to people being stepped on, and it had been basically like a stampede at that point.
Yep. Absolutely, my man. Exactly. So all this talk about the first responders. Let's celebrate the first responders, and God bless the first responders in general. But damn it, man, that's not the questions that the public wants. What I want to know: how did 10 long assault rifles get into a hotel? How did thousands of rounds of ammo get into a hotel? Was there any other help? How is there 2 windows that were blown out in 2 very long distance? They're far apart from each other. How come it was reported that there were multiple shooters? How come there's this mysterious woman who was given a warning of the to the audience that they're all going to die tonight? Who is that individual? Who is this guy, Stephen Paddock? Why is his real identity not being disclosed? How come all of a sudden, in the world of social media, we can't find much info upon this guy, except there's a picture of him wearing a pussy hat. I don't think somebody who wears a pussy hat, okay, and wears pink, lives in a retirement community, is capable of pulling off this stunt, man. I really do not think so. All these questions need to be answered, and we're being fed. We're being, force-fed this concocted BS. It just does not make sense. And then all of a sudden, oh, we need to, get a hold of the guns and grab the guns. No, if there was somebody on the floor with some firearms there in Las Vegas, they could have returned fire if they knew where it was coming from. This thing just doesn't make sense, man, whatsoever.
Yeah, and the real dangerous part is that we're seeing managed information, controlled information come from both sides, even in those in the alternative media, and whether it's true or not. And for example, yesterday, the information that came out regarding the FBI breaching the door and going in and taking him out. The main reason that information is even out is because Alex Jones broke that on air with Paul Joseph Watson. That's the only reason that came out, was that apparently he had an FBI insider that told them when they went in the room there was Antifa literature all over the place, that he was killed, not he didn't take his own life. And through this conversation, he's telling Paul Joseph Watson and trying to get Paul Joseph Watson to engage in that conversation. And well, that's the information that you have. And Alex kind of got pissed at Paul. And was like, Paul, I've got it right here. Antifa's responsible for this. Antifa's the one that's doing this. So I think that there's people trying to control the information and control,
of course,
exactly what happened.
Yeah. Right.
And Paul's like, well, you can't validate it. Here's my thing to Alex Jones is that encourage these brave souls. If they are FBI informants, if they are, tell them to get a hold of WikiLeaks, send pictures, send information so that the American public can verify exactly what he's stating as well. I just can't take it at face value when someone comes out and says, well, I've got this secret insider who told me this, so this is the truth. Well, that's just as dangerous as the MSMV of them telling us specifically what happened. So now you have so many people that are in turmoil of it. I'm almost at the point where I'm kind of almost fatigued about it a little bit because of all the information's coming out. So then one has to start to question, okay, why did this occur? Why is the timing of it? And you're absolutely right. So you start to think of the deep state, the bigger picture is that, yes, they're going to make a push for some type of more, gun legislation, gun laws. Is this in preparation for some economic event, economic collapse that they're going to need to get those guns out of society? Because if not, it will make Venezuela, the urban areas of the United States will make Venezuela look like a petting zoo, right?
Right.
So you start to think about the disruption to the administration, and I can see that a little bit, but you would think that it would have been an event on a different type of crowd. When you think of country singers and country artists and country fans, I think of flag carrying, patriotic Americans, proud of America, probably support the administration. So message to Donald Trump? Was it a message to him saying, hey, you need to watch yourself, everything? So again, just trying to figure out the whole reason, the timing, why. I think that's probably even more of the discussion regarding what, the event that happened, because obviously it was a staged event.
Oh yeah, I mean, I totally agree, man. I think if these guys really wanted to, really get some sort of a crazy response going, I mean, they could have hit a rap concert if they wanted to. I mean, what more can stoke some racial divide? Crazy white guy massacres 50 to 60 people at a rap venue. That would be a great way for the deep state to stoke that divide and conquer racial flames, so to speak. But this is like, okay, you're gonna kill a whole bunch of people in a country music festival. I don't think they're gonna get that type of social response. And if this is a call for gun control, well, let me tell you, gun stocks are up this morning. If you didn't know, I mean, shares for gun companies are up this morning. So I don't see how this is going to help anyone, in any sort of way get their agenda across. But this is just a terrible loss of life. And I don't believe for 1 second the official pronouncement of this whole entire thing, man. I don't buy into it whatsoever.
Yep, well said.
Absolutely. Moving on, my man. Bitcoin continues to surge as the U.S. dollar devaluation of consumer purchasing power continues, my man. What's that all about, Siege?
Well, yeah, you take a look at, the U.S. dollar did have a little bit of a rise going into the holiday for China, but when you take a look at the actual buying power of today's dollar, and then you benchmark that against the cryptocurrencies, that whole effort by Jamie Dimon, by several, to kind of squash the Bitcoin progress, the progress of decentralized currency. And you take a look where Bitcoin yesterday, I think it broke almost $4,400. By far, Bitcoin is greatly exceeding the buying power of today's consumer dollar, V.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I totally agree. It is absolutely trouncing the dollar in purchasing power. That's why, a lot of people are like, oh, Bitcoin's volatile, Bitcoin's volatile. Volatile in comparison to what? It's volatile because it's actually a real thing. It's not artificially stabilized like the dollar. It's volatile because people are actually utilizing it. It's the public that are determining the actual value of it. And what is happening is when you look at a chart from the time that Bitcoin was invented to today, what you're seeing is an upward trend. So I don't get this whole volatility thing. It's something that's often repeated quite often, but it's just you take a step back and you look at the entire graph from beginning to end. It's an upward trajectory. I mean, yeah, you see crocodile teeth. You have dips up and down, but the trend, for the last several years, since 2008, 2009, has been up. So I don't get it, Siege. So that cryptos continue to move into surge. Here we go. The fat lady continues to clear her throat, man, in preparation for the end of central banking. Very interesting is that the IMF Christine Lagarde, aka the giraffe-necked woman of the IMF, foresees the end of banking as Bitcoin surges above 4,400. In a remarkably frank talk to the Bank of England conference, the managing director of the International Monkey Fund has speculated that the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency have much of a future as the internet itself. Boom. Think about that. It could displace central banks, conventional banking, and challenges the monopoly of national monies. Christine Lagarde, the giraffe-necked Paris native who has held her position as the IMF since 2011 and wears fancy scarves ever since she was called the giraffe-necked woman by yours truly, the gorilla himself. She has saying that in the long run, the technology itself can replace money in the conventional financial intermediation, and even puts into question mark the fractional reserve banking model we know today. Think about that. See, this is a huge, huge win for cryptos because now you have the head of the IMF saying, yeah, we're about to lose our monopoly.
Bingo. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's huge. I mean, we're seeing it every day that countries are finally starting to acknowledge that, listen, the cryptocurrency space is a way to possibly move away from the U.S. dollar, move away from the printing of paper money that has happened the last several years. So to see countries openly admitting and saying, you know what, we need to get ahead of this. We need to probably start making our own cryptocurrency. Start mining our own coin. It's just amazing, V. And now you witness this where the IMF is coming out acknowledging that. We had last week, Diamond out there saying how dangerous it was. Well, this is why, because they understand of how disruptive to the central bank that cryptocurrency is going to be, V.
Yeah, because you cannot control the blockchain. Nobody can control it. It is the perfect system. I mean, literally the perfect system, CJ. You cannot stop it. It's unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Totally love blockchain technology, and it's a game changer. Iran moves tanks to the Iraqi border, CJ, and we at Rogue continue to monitor the situation. This is what we talked about quite some time. That the rest of the world in the Middle East is not going to sit idly by as new Kurdish state is formed. It's just not going to happen, bro. What's that all about?
Yeah, well, we just want to continue to monitor this and watch it as, again, it kind of escalate. We shared last week in regards to the Kurdish vote for independence, where Iran, Turkey, even Iraq was saying, hey, don't do this. It's going to lead to an escalation. And so now not only do we see Turkey deploying military assets along the border, but now Iran is doing the same thing. So will this get solved diplomatically? Let's hope. But if not, it could be a very probably heated exchange, probably very disruptive to the entire Middle East as far as any type of larger scale war and event in Iraq. V.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely correct. That being said, Congress is moving to end the U.S. involvement in the Saudi-Yemeni war. This is a good thing. Bipartisan House bill would end U.S. involvement in the Saudi war in Yemen. We aim to restore Congress as a constitutionally mandated branch of government that may declare war and retain oversight of it. Those are the words in a letter by Representative Ro Khanna, Democrat from California, and Mark Pocan from Wisconsin, two sponsors of the House concurrent Resolution 81. The bipartisan resolution directs that the president to end all U.S. military participation in the Saudi-led invasion of Yemen, pointing out that Congress never once authorized such an operation and has sole authority to make such determination. This is what people need to understand, okay? It wasn't until Dumbo, or actually even prior to that, George W. Bush, actually mostly Dumbo, George W. Bush wasn't problematic in this regard. Folks, the president is not. I will say this, the president is not the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He is not commander-in-chief up and until he has a full vote from Congress for a declaration of war. Once he has retained the declaration of war from Congress, then, and only then, is he the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Up until that point, he is not. Okay? So he cannot order military operations willy-nilly anywhere he wants at any time. Cannot do it. Constitutionally, it is Congress that mandates that the government can declare war, and it is Congress that has and retains and maintains the oversight of such war. This is the key aspect of congressional duties that need to be controlled and brought back into the wheelhouse of Congress alongside, CJ, banking and treasury. Those things, the control of the coin, the control of the purse, needs to return back towards Congress. This is what we need for a healthy functioning of the republic, Siege.
Yeah, I mean, let's monitor and see who votes for and against. That'll be the true test to determine that those that want to continue the perpetual war state. I always like it when bills come up, because then you can exactly see where people sit on as far as the deep state in terms of the continued wars and escalation. So I mean, yeah, it'd be a good thing if they were able to slow down the involvement in Yemen. V.
Absolutely correct, man. And with that being said, Siege, we're at the end of the broadcast. What do we got lined up for today, brother?
Yeah, so today is the trading Terradome with Dex, the Vulcan. Last week we had to reschedule. We missed out. It was his birthday. Don't worry, we text him, wish him happy birthday and all that kind of good stuff. So 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, V.
Awesome. And with that being said, folks, we are over and out. Take it away, CJ.